The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 257. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show. She is a TV host. She also has her own online show, and she's also has a radio show, so she has many tricks up her sleeve. And I'm just really excited to have her on and share her story with us. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Joyce Pring. Joyce, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Oh, hello, Sheena, and hello to everyone who is listening. Thank you for having me. I am amazing, and I'm really excited to be on the show today. Okay, so I started radio just 2 years ago, but I've been a host for right about 5 years now. Back in 2011, I actually won this TV show here in the Philippines to become a music video jock. So ever since then, I went into hosting. But before that, I was a fine arts student. I was a science student, but I kind of followed my passion and just went into hosting afterwards. And I'm still doing that now. At the same time, I do make music. I have a band, and I sing for DJ sets, and I write and travel a lot. So there. It feels so weird to be talking about myself a lot, but yes, that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I know sometimes when you start kind of like talking about what you do and who you are, it's something that we're not used to, but I mean, it's great because we can show others what's possible. And Joyce, what would be your cultural background?
I was born and raised in the Philippines. My mom is actually she's part Japanese, part Chinese, and my real dad is half Filipino, half Puerto Rican. But my real dad died when I was 2. And I grew up with my stepfather since I was 4. He is an amazing person, and I really don't have any other memory of any dad except for my stepfather. So grew up in the Philippines. Cool fact is I never actually traveled outside the Philippines until I turned 21 because I didn't have a passport. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Wow, a lot. It's weird because people would always tell me that I seem so confident and I seem so sure of myself, but I honestly feel like sometimes I'm one of the most insecure people out there. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough work, or sometimes I feel like I'm not enough as a person, So I think one of the best things that I've ever read, or I think I heard from a friend, was to continuously aim to be a better or best version of yourself every day. Like always a foot forward, and to always remember that it never really is a competition between anybody else but yourself. And as long as you are on a continuous journey to become a better and best version of yourself, I think that it means you're on the right path.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think as women, especially Asian women, we're so prone to like thinking we always have to do more, not realizing we're more than enough, right? As long as we put our best out there, I mean, that's all we can do. And sometimes that's just more than enough. So I really like that quote that you mentioned, which is to aim to your best self. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
You know how funny it is, because we always talk about self-confidence, and sometimes we think that we have a great grasp already as what self-confidence is, but it's something that I think continuously evolves. Self-confidence really changes through time and through the phases and seasons in our life. But for me personally, I think self-confidence is just kind of accepting myself, accepting my boundaries and limitations, but at the same time, continuously having the courage and the strength to push that. And the most beautiful thing about self-confidence is you can pass it forward, which is what you're doing here on the show. I think, you grow your own self-confidence and you try to be better every day so that you can talk to other people about how they can grow it themselves. So I think self-confidence is that to me. It's what strengthens and gives you courage and drives you every single day to be a better person so that you can be a better person for other people as well.
Thanks for that definition, and I love it. I love that what you mentioned, you pass it on forward. We forget that,
Hmm.
it's kind of like our responsibility to pass it on forward because there's so many people out there, especially women, who feel like they're not as confident. And
Hmm.
if they just hear other women's stories and what they've been through, they can realize, like, wow, she went through the same situations that I did and she was able to get out of it. So if she's able to get out of it, I can get out of it. It's just showing others what's possible in their life. So great definition. And Joyce, what was your life like before your discovery of self confidence?
Oh my gosh, dwindling downwards. That's how it was. Lots of bad decisions. I think lots of bad relationships, lots of unhealthy relationships, lots of tested character. I'd like to think. I guess when I finally admitted to myself that self confidence isn't something that you acquire overnight through makeup or clothes or education or the most banal of things. And when I actually accepted that self-confidence should be something that we work on every single day with support groups, with shows like these, with books, with the relationships that we make around us, that's when it changed. But before that, it was messy. So it's always, I feel like, an inside out kind of thing. You always have to fix the inside before you can expect for anything better outside.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think a lot of people, mistake self confidence as just showing others how confident you are. I mean, you don't,
Hmm.
confidence, it's really, for me, I think, like, it's, even though you're scared, or you have all these like crazy thoughts in your head, you just go ahead and do it anyways. Like, if you want to go and if you want to go dance on the dance floor, you just go ahead and do it, right? Even if you're scared. And a lot of inner work, for sure. I think a lot of people forget that it takes daily work, and
Hmm.
daily work for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
because we always encounter new levels, new challenges, new obstacles to face, and it tests our, like you said, testing our character to make us stronger. But was there one point in your life where you realized that you knew it was inner work and that you were able to do it?
I guess lots of times in my life, I used to have really bad temper. So I'd have really bad temper, and I realized that my temper was springing from past situations and past bad memories that I had. And every time something triggered, I'd go back to that, and I'd just be really angry at myself and at people. And those are the moments when I just kind of it changed me. And that's when I really realized that it was something that you have to fix, from the inside. I went through a phase of depression. I went through a phase of not wanting to work anymore, not wanting to study, not wanting to live at all. And everything changed, obviously. Well, for me personally, my faith is such a big part of it. I'm a Christian, not the best, and not the most well practiced, but it gives me hope. My faith gives me hope. And also reading and kind of just getting my energy from a negative side and pointing it toward positivity. So.
Thanks for sharing that. And it's great that you can pinpoint stuff that made you realize that you can change it in an instant, right? I
Hmm.
think self awareness is a huge thing in our lives. We have to realize, why do things happen to us? And if we can pinpoint it back to our childhood days, or, back to an incident that, we kind of forget, because, as we grow older, it's like we forget all the things that happened to us. But, I think
Yeah.
the universe shows us certain things. And when we can truly see it, then we can say, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And, the next step would be like, how can I change this? What can I do to make myself better? Which, what you did. And, because of that realization, what's your life been like now?
It's been much better, I'd like to think, and I'm very grateful for that. And it's also been a life that I'm living not only for myself, and I think that's the biggest impact of self confidence for me. That I learned that more than anything, we all are going to be passing away at some point in our lives. But what's not going to be expiring is what we pass on to others. So discovering self confidence really made me realize that we need to live our lives to be better for others, so that we can be the best versions of ourselves, because you can't really help people and you can't really make a difference even in the smallest things. You don't I think the usual mistake that we usually have is us thinking that for us to leave history or to make an impact, it has to be big. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to be big. It can just be small. acts of kindness and small pockets of wisdom that you get to impart to people. So when I found my self confidence, I was able to do that, and I was able to kind of prioritize and find my purpose in life.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, Joyce, if our listeners are listening to your episode, they may be in a similar journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to them?
It sounds cliche, but to keep moving forward and to never give up.
I love it. It's funny. A lot of people, or a lot of the women say, it sounds cliche, but I don't think, it does, because I think these are great reminders for people, especially to anyone listening, that the more you're reminded of this, the more your brain is trained to do, the things that you want to do, whether it's to keep moving forward, to never give up, to love yourself. Like, all these things are all great reminders for your brain, because, our brain's kind of like a computer. If you keep on feeding it good stuff, it's going to work well. But if you're going to keep on feeding it like bad stuff, then, that's when the virus comes out. So, love the tips that you mentioned. And, if our listeners want to get to know you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, it's just my name on everything, joycepring.com for my website. Instagram, Twitter is also Joyce Pring. And I actually do a show that's a little bit more on the more comedic side of what you're doing. This is like very inspiring. But I also am, I think I'd like to think that I am honored to be sharing kind of the same journey with you, wherein you grow yourself so that you can impart it with others. So if you guys could check that out, that would be great. And this has been really fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, Joyce. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Joyce, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Joyce's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Joyce for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Sheena. This is an amazing thing that you're doing, and I hope that you continually pass the light on and that you enjoy it thoroughly. Thank you.
No, thank you for being on the show. I'm, just really honored to have you on. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com to check out cool resources, blog articles, show recaps, and so much more. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.